welcome back to my channel. I thought I would do a tutorial today with some new products that I have and give you my thoughts on them. I've tried everything, so I wanted to give you my thoughts and then show you kind of a demo of each of them. So let's first start with the Clé de Peau Radiant Stick Foundation. Now this is new, this just launched. I have it in the shade Ivory, and there are not many shades, unfortunately, that in this range. It comes, I believe, in like 4 or 5 shades. Ivory definitely works for me. I have used this before, and I was really surprised at with most stick foundations, I anticipate, a good amount of coverage and kind of like a very, kind of more of a drier feeling. This is actually quite sheer. Got some on my hair there. This is actually quite sheer, which I was surprised about. And it has almost like a very hydrating, almost like a gel-like feeling to it. It's very, very hard to describe because as I'm applying it, when I first kind of like stripe it onto the skin, it feels very, very almost wet. It has like this cooling sensation almost, which really surprised me. Now it is, my only challenge with this is it's just not enough coverage. I mean, if you're looking for maybe a stick foundation and you want one that doesn't give a lot of coverage, maybe something really quick and easy, this may be a good option. With stick foundations, I kind of always assume that they're going to be quite heavy coverage, or a good amount of coverage that almost you need to shear it out more than apply more. You need to typically shear it out so it can be a little bit more wearable rather than keep applying more like I am. And so that's the only, I like the finish is a very fresh face finish. I just wish it had a little bit more coverage. Like I have some blemishes right there. My dry patches are back. So they're somewhat covered, but like it doesn't even kind of cover my little pimple situation over here. So that's the only challenge with it. If you're having like a really good skin day, this may be great. It actually gives like a very nice natural finish, which I thought was very pretty. But like I said, if you do have some spots that you need to conceal here and there, you may need to use a heavier foundation with that or come in with your concealer. Okay, for under the eyes, I'm going to do the Sicily Eye Concealer in shade number 1. I reviewed these on the blog. I had never tried these before, and I know people were like raving about them. And I was so excited to finally try it. It is a beautiful, beautiful formula. I was shocked at how much coverage it gives. While still being, it comes out kind of, it's not super liquidy, but it's not like a heavy cream. It's kind of in between. But as you begin to blend it, it definitely gives a good amount of coverage. I have it in the shade number 1. It's very of a peach, more of a peach undertone. But it definitely really helps to brighten under the eyes, I found. And I found that it really did a great job of concealing under the eyes. I don't use it on the rest of my face, but I like it kind of just under the eye area. Okay, moving on. Next, we're going to do brows and get into eyeshadow. Brows are done. I also primed my lids with the Urban Decay Primer Potion, as I always do. All right, for the eyeshadow, I am going to use the Chanel Quad, the new one, in shade 278. That's right? 278? I'm like drawing a blank. Yep, 278. I believe it came out with the spring collection. All right, so I have tried this a few times, and I really was not, like the formula just wasn't going on as smoothly as I wanted it to. And someone left me a comment the other day. I forgot what picture it was on Instagram, and they left me a comment about trying it wet and using like a matte shade in the crease, and I was like, she was brilliant. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just using like a face mist, And I'm gonna go in on this kind of second color. This is like a really, really shimmery pink, a little too light for me. I'm gonna go in on the second one with the wet brush, and I find that it gives a much smoother finish. I really, really like the finish that it gives when I wet it versus wearing it dry. I just found that wearing it dry didn't give the smoothest application, and it looked a little patchy. And I really want it to kind of look exactly like it did in the case here. So, and I've tried actually using the entire set kind of in one look, and I found that it was almost too much shimmer for me. So today I'm just going to use just that this lighter taupe color, and then I'm going to use the darker color to line. I may just pop a little bit of this kind of reddish brown in the crease, but I don't think I'm going to use the pink shade. It's very, very of a bright, shimmery, kind of whitish pink. Okay, so if you can see, it definitely has some shimmer to it. Very, very strong shimmer, which I actually prefer. I like the way that it looks, but like I said, I really wanted it to look more like exactly like what it looked like in the pan, rather than kind of like buffed out and looking really almost sheer. So I'm going to throw in a matte color in the crease, which someone recommended, and I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to use my Lila B quad, which I've talked before about. I'll make sure to link this below in the description box. It's amazing. It's called the Be Stunning quad, and there's this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous matte taupe in there that I like to use. So adding the matte shade in the crease really just helps to add some dimension to the look without adding more shimmer. Like, I didn't want to add any more shimmer to my eye because I just thought that was way too much. So I thought that was a brilliant suggestion. Sometimes when I buy like a quad, I mean, I want to use all the colors, but sometimes I don't feel like using all the colors at one time. All right, so then I'm going to use the darkest shade in the palette right here with a wet angled brush and just use that as a liner. The color isn't exceptionally super, super dark when used as a liner, but I like that. I don't want it to be, too intense. I'm not looking for like a liquid liner. And I definitely find though that using these colors wet looks so much better rather than using them dry. Next, I'm going to be using the Estee Lauder Sumptuous Volume Mascara, which I always love to use and wear. I've been wearing that Estee Lauder mascara for years and years, and it is truly still one of my favorite mascaras. All right, moving on to cheeks. Cheeks are going to be just standard colors that I already have, nothing new. The Laura Mercier Candle Glow Powder in number 2. I've really been liking this kind of to prep the cheeks. I've been wearing this instead of my Hourglass Ambient Lighting, which I always go for my Hourglass Ambient Lighting, but I've really been loving this just to kind of give the cheeks just a little bit of color and just to put some powder on them. And oh my gosh, I almost forgot. I'm like not doing it in the order that I typically would do it at my vanity. I almost forgot. I tried this Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder for under the eyes. Can't believe I forgot this. Because I really wanted to begin testing this, and I absolutely love it. I've been using it just to like set my under eye, but more than anything, I've just been using it as like a light brightener under the eyes, and I thought it's so, so beautiful. I mean, it does help with not to crease and whatnot, but more than anything, it just gives my under eye like a little bit more brightness and kind of some lightness, and looks a little bit more, actually it looks a little bit more smooth once I put on the powder as well. So I put on the Laura Mercier Candle Glow Powder, and then for blush, I'm going to do the Chantecaille. This is the limited edition cheek color in Pride. This is the similar one that she makes kind of every year. I just like this kind of like neutral rose color for the cheeks. For my highlighter, I bought this one. This is new, the Dior Skin Nude Air Luminizer in 001. Absolutely stunning. And I mean, I'm really picky about my highlighters only because many don't show up on me or they're too, I don't know, I'm not looking for an Instagram highlight. I'm not looking to have my cheekbones like super, super shiny and glowy, though I am putting on a little more than I probably would for every day. I don't know if you can see, it's just a hint of a glow. Obviously, it is quite strong, so you can just use a little bit less, but I really love the effect that it gives. I'm actually going to take some of my Laura Mercier powder, and I'm just going to dust it. I find that this foundation can look a little, if you do have oily skin, I would say you definitely need a setting powder with this Clé de Peau foundation. All right, moving on to lips, and I've got some lip colors to share with you. The look for today is going to be this new Tom Ford. The only thing about these new Tom Ford, these duo kind of lip colors is they are so messy. That's the only thing. And the little applicator that comes in it can be kind of messy as well. This is the shade, I believe, Impulse. But if I'm wrong, I'll have the correct color down in the description box below. But I believe this is Impulse. And I've really been enjoying that color. I'm going to use a liner, though, to start. Just use my Kevyn Aucoin. This is the Flesh Tone Lip Pencil in medium. If you don't have this lip pencil, this is a must-have. This is gorgeous. It's like a little bit darker than my natural lip, so it can give some definition rather than just like a nude lip pencil. But it's not, you know, super dark, and it really blends in quite nicely. All right, I've been gravitating towards the lighter shade here, and gosh, what am I gonna, I guess I can use this little thing. Like I said, that's my only complaint about it, is it is a little bit messy, and if you want to kind of go between the colors, then the applicator will get messy and dirty. And I really love it with the lip liner. I'm not a big fan of like darker on the outside, lighter on the inside. I was years ago. But it's not my favorite, but I like it if it's blended well. And using this liner, it blends just enough. Now the formula for these is surprisingly, it's kind of creamy, but there is a slight matte feeling to it. It's very, very unique. It's not what you would think maybe looking at it in the case here. I'm going to take just a little bit of the darker shade and just kind of just go around the outside just to give a little bit of definition. But I pretty much like using the lighter shade exclusively, but I have recently been mixing it a little bit with the darker shade. I mean, that's how really they suggest that you use it, kind of blending the two to kind of create like an ombre lip. I am not that skilled to do this like perfect ombre lip, so I kind of just, you know, make do and do the best I can. But I have to say, I really wasn't sure that I was going to love the formula. It is it's a tad dry. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's not super creamy and moisturizing. There's a tad bit of dryness to it, but nothing like a liquid matte lipstick. On top of it, I'm going to throw on the Too Faced Sweet Peach, Creamy Peach Peach Oil Lip Gloss. Oh, I love this. But you can see just the finish of this alone is kind of a creamy finish, but definitely more matte. It's not very glossy. I have been loving these though. Oh my gosh. They are very, very unique. It's like a thicker, like a thicker balm, less like a gloss, more like a thick balm. And oh my gosh. The colors, however, I have two shades. This is in the shade Papa Don't Peach. And let me just make sure it doesn't get on my teeth. And it definitely is very, very sheer. Like, Alone, it doesn't do much for my lips. It adds a little bit of color, but I have been wearing it alone just because I love the feel on my lips. So this is the final look, and it's a little bit different. I added a liner, which I typically don't do. I don't always love wearing liner, but I thought it was a little bit of a different look. And I love using that matte in the crease, which I thought was really nice. And once again, the Clé de Peau foundation, I definitely think if you have drier skin, this would be a great option. The longer that it's on my skin, I definitely like how it settles and begins to look. It does last all day, though I did begin to see slight pulling right around my nose. I did get a little shiny, but not as shiny as I anticipated. So it initially goes on kind of a shiny, a little more dewy, and it has a very hydrating feeling to it. So there's a lot of slip to it, but it does dry down, as you can see, to a more natural finish, not too naturally matte, more of a natural finish. So I will link everything that I used down below, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.